Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers at a drawing on May 26, 2018. If you would like to play my game, Decoding the Powerball, to help assist you in picking your own numbers, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. I have 7 strategies with my game Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I put together that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 20, 54, 56, 61, and 64. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, again, there's 69 white ball numbers total, okay? And I divided that by 5 different colors, which equals 13.8. Okay, so when I divide up these numbers into the color groups here, I want an average of either 13 or 14 colors, okay? So for this drawing here, I have 13 red numbers, 15 orange, 10 green, 15 blue, and 16 purple, okay? And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over here to the right, there's 230. This represents how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 230 drawings, 120 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 82 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 22 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 7 times out of 230 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so this number right here, this number 3, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there's 2 orange numbers, 2 green, and a red for 3 colors total. Okay, so how I use this game is I try to correctly guess how many colors will be coming up in the next drawing. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, now the overall strategy is to reduce the numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Only 5 can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me do that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together. Okay, so if more than half the time 3 colors come up, then that means more than half the time 2 colors are not going to come up. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no green numbers will be coming up. Okay, and the reason why is because green has had a pretty good run from here to here. Okay, and then as I look from the top to the bottom here, I just see lots of green. Okay, so another thing is that green only has 10 numbers that it's representing for this drawing. Okay, so again, I just don't think a green number is going to come up in the drawing, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to block out these numbers, these green numbers on the game card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is scroll to the right just to speed things up. Okay, so this is the game card with no green numbers to it. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket. Okay, and that includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, what I'm doing is I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, and how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. Okay, and over here to the right, these are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Again, it was the 20, the 54, the 56, the 61, and the 64. Okay, so that comes out to be a 3-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and what you're going to see here is that I divided up these numbers into 7 different groups. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Okay, so that's the only column that has 9 numbers, and the rest of these groups have 10 numbers to them. Okay, so there's 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So that means 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? And I like to break things down into 5 because when I go into the history of things, it's easier to count, going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? So another reason why I break it down into 5 is because when I see lots of hits within these 5 drawings for this certain group of numbers, then my thought is maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 or vice versa. Okay, so for this drawing, again, the overall strategy is to reduce the numbers. Okay, so I don't think any 50 numbers are going to come up. Okay, because it had 10 drawings in a row where a 50 number has come up. Okay, so if you look through the history of things, you can see that hardly ever happens. In fact, it's a new record. The old record was 8 drawings in a row. Okay, so again, I just don't think that a 50 number will come up. Okay, and if it does, then the next drawing, I'm going to guess that no 50 numbers will come up, and do that until no 50 numbers do come up. Okay, so again, I'm going with no 50 numbers. So I'm going to eliminate the 50 numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card here. Okay, and I'm going to scroll to the right to speed things up. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Again, with no green numbers from the color code and now no 50 numbers from the individual numbers. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers that you hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and I divided it into 4 different groups. Okay, I put colors to these groups. So now 5 white winning Powerballs land within these groups. I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage. And again, the 5 white winning Powerball numbers were the 20, 54, 56, 61, and 64. Okay, so as you can see, the Powerball's up to 50 million now. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to the game card here. Okay, so in the red area, you can see that the 20 is in the red. So when I come down here to the red, you can see this number 1 down here. This represents that 20 number. Okay, so over here in the blue, you can see that there was no winning Powerball numbers. Okay, and then the the 54, the 56, the 61, and the 64 were all over here in the green. So you can see this 4 again represents the 54, 56, 61, and 64. Okay, so you can see that there's again no winning Powerball numbers in the blue area and no winning Powerball numbers in the orange area. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess when these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these blue numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all these numbers and really gave myself a much better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards, okay, and they all kind of look the same as far as the colors of red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so you can see the red area, the red numbers go like this, okay? And in option card number 3, you can see the red numbers are up top here. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm dividing up groups of numbers and just trying to predict whether they're going to come up in the drawing or not come up in the drawing. Okay, so again, you can see that it does happen, okay, where numbers don't come up. So I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so for this drawing here, my first pick is going to be option card number 2, no red numbers. Okay, and as I look at this, okay, and we're all going to look at this differently, all right? But for me, I look at this, and as I go down through the history of things, you can see that these zeros, they double up sometimes. Sometimes they triple up, like over here, quadruple up or whatever, okay? So in this red area, it has never tripled up, okay? You can see that there's a couple doubles here, okay? And down here in this column, you can see that there's it quadrupled up, okay? In the other columns, they tripled up as well already, okay? But this one in the red has never tripled up yet. So I'm going to guess that that's what's going to happen right here. I think there's going to be a 0 here and a 0 on the next one as well. Okay, so the bottom line here is I don't believe that any of these red numbers are going to come up in the drawing. Okay, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so this group 1 here is just a format that I use to separate the numbers. Okay, and if I don't think one of these groups of numbers is going to come up, then I eliminate them again through the game card. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the right here. And you can see underneath group 1, option card number 2, no red numbers. And you can see all these red numbers are gone now. Okay, so I want to point out these numbers over here on the left. Okay, again, when you look at this 4 squares, this represents 64 squares. Okay, but there's 69 numbers in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so these are those extra 5 numbers over here. Okay, so how this works is that this 8 right here shares the square with the 66. Okay, so what that means is if I decide to get rid of all these numbers here, this whole square, I'm going to get rid of the 8 and the 66 along with all these other numbers as a group. Okay, so the reason why I have this 8 over here and not crammed in here with the 66 is because of the color code. Okay, for this drawing here, you can see that the 8 is blue, and it just so happens that the 66 is blue as well. Okay, sometimes they're different colors. Okay, so if I wanted to get rid of, let's say that the 66 was orange, if I wanted to get rid of all the orange numbers, I would get rid of the 66, but the 8 would still be in play. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1. I have 2 more picks in here. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, and we're all going to come up with different outcomes. Okay, so my next pick is going to be option card number 4, no orange numbers. Okay, and the reason why I'm picking this one is because this has hit 22 drawings in a row where one of these orange numbers have come up. Okay, So eventually it's going to miss, okay? I don't know when. I just hopefully will correctly guess when it's going to miss, okay? So I'm hoping that it's going to miss right now for this drawing, so I'm going to get rid of all these orange numbers through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over to the right. Again, to speed things up, and you can see all these orange numbers are gone now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 for one more pick. Again, I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, and I'm going to go to option card number 14, no blue numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, now you can see that it has a couple of single zeros here, and every once in a while they double up. Okay, so here in this blue column, as I go down through, you can see that there's actually 16 of these single zeros here. Okay, starting with this one right here. Okay, so as I go up, again, there's 16 of these single zeros, and I think that it's due to double up, where there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, and if that happens, then that none of these blue numbers will be coming up in the drawing tonight. Okay, so again, I don't think they're going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right, and you can read underneath group 1, option card 14, no blue numbers, and you can see those blue numbers are gone now. Okay, so that's all the picks I'm going to make in group 1. So again, if I made all the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up in the drawing, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here in group 2, I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so much like group 1, I have the same colors. Okay, and I also have 15 of these option cards. Okay, so what I mean by the same colors is that each of these option cards have red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, it's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so you can look at this red area. You can see it goes up and down, 1 to the 57. And then over here in option card number 2, you can see that the red numbers go from the 1 to the 66. Okay, so here's the stats for them down here. And again, the strategy is to correctly guess when these numbers are not going to come up. Okay, so down here in the red area, you can see that there's a bunch of zeros. Okay, that means that none of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, and then you can see a 1 right here, and that means that 1 out of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, so how I use this is, if there's 3 or more zeros or 3 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 3 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so why I do that is, and you can see that I broke it down into 5 drawings. Okay, so the reason why I do that is so it will show me a majority of things. Okay, so again, if the majority is hits, then I color it red for hot. If the majority is misses, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so as I go down through the history of things, okay, since the lottery is so random, I know that nothing can stay hot forever and nothing can stay cold forever. Okay, so as I go down through, I just have to correctly guess what's going to happen. Okay, and there's only 2 outcomes. Either it's going to hit or it's going to miss. Okay, so it's a 50-50 guess on what it is. All right, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess at the number 1 option card, that no brown numbers will come up. Okay, so this is the brown section right here. And you can see the last 5 drawings, there's been a hit. Okay, and actually it's the last 8 drawings have been a hit. So I think that it's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, and if that happens, then none of these brown numbers will be coming up. Okay, so the brown numbers run on this option card from the 6 to the 62. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, since I don't think that these brown numbers are going to come up, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can read underneath group 2 option card number 1, no brown numbers, and you can see that there's no brown numbers here anymore. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is going to be option card number 6, no green numbers. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards as well. Okay, and I know that there's going to be 3 of these groups that are going to have a 0 to them. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I have to pick from each and every one of them. Okay, I just pick from the ones that I feel comfortable picking at. Okay, so again, here's the stats for the green area for this option card number 6. And as I go down through, you can see that things got really hot here. And now I think they're going to start to cool off. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, if that happens, then none of these green numbers will be coming up, hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these green numbers off of the game card, or through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down now. And you can see option card number 2, group 2 option card number 6, no green numbers, and you can see all these green numbers are gone. Okay, so again, if I made the correct pick and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm another step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to my next pick, and that's option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 7. Here's the green. Okay, and as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really hot with this green area. Okay, and it started to cool off. And then it got hot again, and now I think it's going to cool off. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, and again, I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So again, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I believe that the only ones left is the 60 and the 64. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll to the left. And you can read underneath group 2 option card number 7, no green. You can see that 60 and the 64 are now gone. Okay, so I'm going to go back for a couple more picks here. Okay, option card number 8. I'm going to go with no blue numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the blue. Now I'm going to scroll down through, and you can see that things got pretty hot. Okay, now they're cooling off. Now it's kind of like a 50-50 thing, but this has hit in the last 5 drawings, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these blue numbers are going to come up. Actually, I'm hoping that they're not going to come up. Okay, so it's the 6, 15, 22, 32. Okay, so I think the only thing that's left is the 32 here. So I'm going to scroll to the left. You can see that 32 is gone now. Okay, so it's just one more number that I got rid of. Okay, one less that I have to pick from. Okay, so my next one is, I got 2 more picks, and this is option card number 13, no purple numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the purple. And as I head down through, you can see that things started off hot, and then it was kind of 50-50, and then it got really hot. And this has hit 5 drawings in a row as well, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here. I'm hoping there's going to be a 0 right there, okay? Which means that I don't believe that any of these purple numbers will be coming up, okay? So the only one left is the 20 and the 63. Okay, so you can see that those numbers are gone now. Okay, so I got one more, and that's option card number 14, no gray numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the gray, and as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really hot here, okay? And now I think there's going to be a long cold streak, okay? So I think there's going to be a 0 here. I think it keeps on going, which means I don't believe that any of these gray numbers will be coming up, okay? So I think the only one left is the 24 and the 37, okay? So I'm going to scroll down. Okay, and you can read underneath group 2, option card 14, no gray numbers, and the 24 and 37 are gone. Okay, so that's all the numbers that I'm going to predict that won't be coming up. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct picks on these numbers that are blocked out, if these numbers don't come up in the drawing, then the 5-way winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so to help me pinpoint what those numbers are, okay, I'm going to turn to my next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so this happened to me a couple years ago where I reduced the numbers down to 10. Okay, and I believe that this is what I did here as well. So I started off with 69 white ball numbers, and then down to 2, and 3 is 5, and 3 is 8, and 2 is 10 numbers, okay? So I did this a couple years ago, and the 5-way winning Powerball numbers landed within these 10 numbers, okay? That's when I kind of said to myself, gee, I think I'm really onto something here, okay? So I only got 2 of the numbers correct that drawing, okay? And this is where I came up with the 50-50 picks to help me make a better guess, okay? So again, with the 50-50 picks here, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So that means there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers at the high side or numbers at the low side, okay? So how this works is this 275. This represents all the drawings that I kept track of so far, and this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So out of that 275 drawings, 138 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 137 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? Which I think is just really cool that it's that close, okay? So also what I do is I break this down in the drawings into every 5 drawings. So again, I can see a majority, okay? And the majority of this last 5 drawings were even numbers, 3 drawings to 2, okay? So I could go back into the history of things, okay? And when I see a long run of odds here, well, I know it's going to be evens at some point. I just got to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so I'm not going to make a guess tonight on the odds and evens. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. So I'm going to move on to the next one. And the next one is high and low, okay? So all the high numbers are in red. All the lower are in blue, okay? So 135 drawings have been the majority to the high side. 140 have been the majority to the low side. Okay, so for this one here, I'm not going to make a guess on this one either. So I'm going to go on to the next one. Okay, left and right. Okay, 137 drawings, a majority to the left side, 138 to the right side, which is amazing, I think. Okay, I'm going to make a guess on this one. And that is that I think that the majority of the numbers will be to the left side, okay? So I want at least 3 numbers over here to the left side, okay? So one more last thing that I have for the 50-50 is this red and blue area. And you can see the red has a huge lead of 158 to 117, okay? So for this drawing, I'm going to guess that more blue numbers are going to come up than red, okay? So I want at least 3 numbers here in this blue area. Okay, so one last thing I have in here. This is for the Powerball number itself, okay? So this is that red number. Okay, so if you don't know about the Powerball, it's 69 white ball numbers and 26 red numbers, okay? So if you're looking at this column here, okay, if you see a blue number, then that means it's low, 1 to 13. Again, there's 26 numbers. I just divided it into 2. Okay, so if you see a blue number, that means it's low. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26. Over here in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. If you see a blue, then that means it's evens. Okay, so I like to do that. So now I just can look at the colors, kind of, you know. So I think that this is going to be a blue number right here, okay? And I think that this is going to be blue as well, okay? So I think the Powerball number will be a low, even number, okay? So as I go back to the game card here, I'm going to scroll over to the right. And again, with the 50-50 picks, I think the majority will be to the left side, and I think the majority will be to this blue area here, okay? So I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so here in this group 2, again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so as I go down through, you can see that they're all the same colors there. Okay, so with that, what I'm trying to say here is that there's 15 red areas, 15 blue areas, 15 orange, and so on. Okay, so I like to keep track of that, and I call that the group 2 overview. Okay, so I'm going to go to that right now. Okay, so almost there. Okay, so again, this is what I call the group 2 overview. And this red area represents the 15 option cards for the red, okay? And on the left side is the hits, and on the right side is the zeros or the misses. Okay, so for this last drawing, there was 8 hits and 7 misses among those 15 option cards. Okay, so the magic number here is 8. Okay, it's right in the middle of 15. Okay, so if there's 8 or more misses, I color the background blue for cold. If there's 8 or more hits, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so again, this is a way for me to just look at the colors and try to predict when it's going to be either red or blue, or correctly guess when it's going to be either red or blue. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm just going to make one guess, and that's, I think that the 15 blue areas will have more hits than misses. Okay, so I think that this is going to be red right here. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, again, it says, I think there's going to be lots of hits among the blue areas of group 2 for all 15 option cards. Okay, so how I use this is this represents option card number 1. Okay, so as I go back here to number 1, you can see the blue area runs from the 2 down to the 68. Okay, so here on the game card, you can see the 2 down to the 68. You can see that there's no numbers left on the game card, so I put a 0 here. Okay, and I'm going to do one more. Okay, so you can see that the blue area runs from the 9 to the 16 on option card number 2 here. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, you can see that the 11 and the 16 are still on here. Okay, so you can see that I put the 11 and the 16. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards, and these are the numbers still left on the board. Okay, so now I'm off to my last strategy, and that's strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so for this drawing here, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 11, 16, 36, 43, and 44. Okay, so with that combination of numbers, that will give me 9 hits and 6 misses among those 15 option cards. Okay, so as I go back to the group 2 overview, you can see that I think in the blue, I think that, again, this left side I think will be a 9. Okay, and the right side a 6, and I think that will be, of course, it would be red. Okay, because I had more hits than misses. Okay, so As I go back here, again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 11, 16, 36, 43, and 44. Okay, so when it comes to the 50-50 picks, I thought there was going to be more to the left side than the right side, and you can see that the 11, 36, 43, and 44 will make that happen. Okay, and I also thought there was going to be more in the blue area. Okay, and you can see that the 16, 36, and 43 and 44 will make that happen as well. Okay, so that's how I use my game. Okay, so if you're interested in using my game as well to help assist you in picking your numbers, then please go to my website at www.patreon.com/decoding the Powerball. Okay, and if you'd like to send me any feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Again, that's just decodingpowerball@gmail.com. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching. If you like the content of my channel, then please subscribe. Okay, and as always, I like to wish everybody the best of luck with your picks.